Well, good morning, everybody. Good to see you here. Hope it's good to see me. Listen, this stuff that we're going to do next is going to no doubt fall under some heading of management, but I want to let you know that this is just not all about management. Management's kind of a misnomer anyways. Suggests that you're trying to get people to do things that they don't want to do. And one of the things, if you don't already know this, you're going to find out in this little series that people don't do things that they don't want to do. That's how that is. Now, there's gradations on that, but we'll get to all that. But, before I get into any of it, I want to do something completely unrelated. I recently got my ham radio license, and I just wondered if any of the people that hear this are ham radio guys too. I'm just getting started. In fact, it took me a while to get all the pieces together, but I've got a radio now, and I have an antenna for 20 meters, and I'm going to be a radio guy. So, if any of you are, try to get through to me, and it'd be fun to talk to you. My call sign is K. All right, and one more little piece on that before we move on to what you came here for is years and years ago, I had a friend. I want to do a shout out to a friend named Jim Brewer, who invested a good bit of time in me and radio, and I didn't pan out. That was like, I don't know, 20 years ago or 30 years ago, a long time ago. But anyway, Jim, if you ever hear this, I just want you to know that you didn't waste your time. It just took me a long time to get here. Alrighty, thanks, Jim. All right, let's get to this. I've been meaning to do this particular talk for a while, or this series, if you will. And like I said, it's going to fall under management, no doubt, but maybe it could fall under sales as well. This is about dealing with people. And I have, like I said, a ton of books on this sort of stuff. And I got to tell you that the best book on this ever written, and you know, that's not just what I'm saying. I mean, nobody outsells this guy. This book was written not 100 years ago, but no kidding, in 1936. Now, they update the versions of it. The version I own is the 1980 version, so it actually makes reference to Disney parks and things like that. Things that didn't exist in 1936. But a lot of the meat of the book is still the original stuff. And I read it originally when I was 12 or 13 for the first time. Read it several times in my life. And my dad gave me that book. So I want to show you a book that ought to be on everybody's bookshelf, but more than just on your bookshelf. Read it, okay? When I prepared this talk, the one thing I went back to was Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So, and you can see where that's going to spread over into working with your employees and working with your customers. All right, so we're going to cover one of those pieces of information today. First thing is, and we've touched on this before, remember I mentioned my neighbor who's just plain unhappy? You know, we all live in a very nice area and a nice building, but, you know, right over there, I've got a view of the parking lot, right? It's a nice parking lot. But my neighbor who complains, her view is of the golf course and the horses and the trees. You know, I'd love to live in her place instead. In fact, I tried to live in her place instead, except for it was already sold when I signed up to live here. So people, and I want to tell you that, and this is where this is going, she wore us out. She just criticizes and complains, and she's never, ever happy that she lives here in a nice place, and it wears people out. So here's the problem with the stuff that you complain and, you know, say you have employees that do wrong, so you criticize them, and the thing is, you're right, and you have a right. That complicates the matters. I mean, if you were doing wrong, I'd be able to sit here and say, well, you know, you're doing wrong. You need to do better. You ain't right. Well, the thing is, you are right. The things you see are really happening, and they really aren't right. And not only that, you have the authority, oftentimes just the right to, you know, to complain or to criticize. But I want to say to you this. If you want to just be nice, you know, that doesn't really fit into the nice profile. Well, what is being nice then? Nice, when you follow the thread back, if you could only give that thread one name, it's giving, right? I mean, you're a giver. And that's not even as opposed to a taker. It just means that you're a giver. And so, you know, it shows up in things like forgiving, right? And just letting things slide and all that. Well, you know, you're running a business. There's only so much of that you can do. You can't let the whole world slide and people walk all over you. But what you can do is be a nice guy. Did you ever see Mr. Saturday Night with Billy Crystal? Kind of an unmajor picture. However, Billy Crystal calls it the best picture he ever made. I thought it was great. It all comes down to this one scene in a hallway, which I won't tell you now. I'll just recommend the picture. But, oh, that made such an impression on me when his brother says this one thing to him. And spoiler alert, it's basically, yeah, but you weren't a nice guy. So people do measure you by how nice you are, how giving you are, even while they're busy not being that way themselves. So the other thing about it is it doesn't do you any good in the long haul to keep stuff close. Even though those things are your right, people don't give you their best. They don't give you their loyalty. So anyway, it's in your best interest to, and they call that managing people. I don't know if that's really fair. You're not managing. You're just being nice and letting people respond. How does that sound? Okay, you're not manipulating anybody. They're doing what they want to do, but you've made a decision to give. So let's get into the specifics of that. The words you choose. I mentioned one time about your kids believing you. Well, they do. Your kids believe you, and so you've got to choose not to say hard words if you don't want the results that come from that. So, you know, say words that build. Always build, build, build. And sometimes it's hard. I mean, you be angry. And like I said, you've got a right to be angry. The things that are coming out of your mouth as you criticize would be true. In the long run, it's better for the other person and you if you choose words that will build that person. You can do it. Otherwise, actually what you do is destroy. And, you know, most of us don't actually want to destroy. I mean, you may feel mean today and feel like lashing out and destroying something, but it's probably not characteristic of you. It's just the moment speaking. So make choices about it. And I'm going to come to an end on this. There are several topics, but just one today. The other thing it does is when you criticize, complain, condemn, it creates resentment. And that's an odd thing. I'm still thinking that through, why someone should resent you. I can only imagine it's because they feel ripped off too. Now, what they're feeling ripped off about, I'm not quite sure. And that's where I'm a little confused. But regardless, we know that it's true. And it'll destroy loyalty. It destroys the desire to do a good job. It beats the person down inside. And that dynamic's fairly easy to see. You know, they feel worthless, so they deliver worthless. But it doesn't, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, It doesn't help them cooperate with you, and it doesn't engender loyalty. And that's something that you do want. So, you know, it's a good package when you can get people to want to cooperate with you, and that means employees, and that also means customers that you want to get to buy from you. So if you're in sales, you'll be listening to this. If you're in sales, absolutely you want to read Dale Carnegie's book. All right, I think that'll do it for right now, and we'll get on with the next one next time. See you then. Bye. Hey friends, I hope this was useful to you. Would you do something for me? Would you please share this with anybody you know that ought to hear it too? And then, would you please give me the thumbs up and subscribe, right? That's kind of important on these things. Feel free to leave comments. All right, thanks a lot. And now get out there and do some winning.